report of.
Screen says 1:31. So we will get started. Welcome everyone. My name is Leanne Hahn. I am a white woman with dark hair, and I got my hair pulled back today with big earrings. The bigger the better. So I'm with the Missouri Developmental Disabilities Council, and I'm really excited this year that the council has invested in Disability Rights Legislative Day. And I'm also excited we've got this really strong team that has formed a committee that's worked on this, gosh, guys, for now like 6 months. So I've got two of my colleagues here on the call. So I'll let them introduce themselves, and then we'll come back to me, and I'll just point. So Shelby, if you would like to introduce yourself.
Hello, Shelby Butler. I'm with Empower Abilities, one of the 22 independent living centers, and I'm down in Springfield, Missouri, and I'm a white woman wearing glasses and a blue shirt.
And then Laura.
Hi everyone, I'm Laura Meath with the Governor's Council on Disability, and I too am a white woman, and I have blonde hair and glasses, and I am wearing a navy shirt today with a pattern.
And then Sarah, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hi, I am Sarah Williamson. I'm the administrative coordinator for the DD Council. I am a white woman with, well, today my hair is kind of brown, light brown, and I have a black jacket and a light green shirt on and glasses.
Awesome. Well, thank you all again for being here. We have chunked this out. We're each going to be talking about some different topics today, just to help you prepare for DRLD, or Disability Rights Legislative Day. Know that we'll probably use that acronym since it's a mouthful. So DRLD is how we refer to it. Before we start, just some like housekeeping. Sarah is going to have everybody on mute, and that's just for all the reasons that make sense, right? Like just in case a lawnmower is going off or your dog barks. It's not to stifle anyone's participation. So we do ask that if you have a question, we're going to take questions at the end. So if you don't want to forget it, you could type it in the chat or save it in your brain until the end, and then we'll use the raise hand feature via that little reaction button on Zoom. If that's something that's not accessible for you to use, just type the word "me" in the chat. With so many people on the call, we'll try to watch, but giving a physical signal may not get our attention because we may not be able to see you on the screen, but we will try. So definitely let us know, and we will get you called on. We're going to record this call and post it on the website for people who couldn't attend today to hopefully get the information. And I think that's it as far as kind of logistics. Sarah, did I miss anything?
Nope, good to go.
I love it when I don't miss stuff. I feel good about it. All right. So like I said, I'm Leanne. I'm with the Missouri Developmental Disabilities Council. My chunk for the day is I'm just talking about, hey, here's what to expect. Here's the day. Here's the schedule. Here's how to work around it. And then I'm going to kick it over to Laura, who's going to dive a little bit more into the legislative issues. We've got a summary. And so whether this is the first time you've engaged this session or the 100th time, we've provided just a short sheet with like some disability legislation and summaries. So Laura is our expert on that and going to dive into that for you. And then finally, Shelby, who's been doing this for years, is going to be talking about how you can engage with your legislator. And that's for the virtual or the in-person for everybody. So she's got some materials prepared. So I'll just get started. I'm going to share my screen so it's more interesting than, just my face here. Let's see. I've shared my screen. Sarah, you're the only person I can see. Can you thumbs up if you can see that? Okay. All right, let me move this. So Disability Rights Legislative Day is next week. So we're very excited. This website, drld.org, is where you can go. We're really trying to put everything on the site. So the general overview of the day is the best way to think about it is in two chunks. You've got the rally and then you've got the afternoon. So the rally is going to be in the rotunda at the Capitol starting at 11 a.m. So if you're an in-person participant, we would recommend you getting there as soon as possible to find parking and make your way to the rotunda. There will be some seating, and we've made a lot of efforts this year. For those of you who've attended in years past, sometimes if you're up on the second floor, you can't hear. It's that huge echo chamber, right? Well, we're going to have more screens around the second floor and first floor, and we're going to have closed captioning and also a sign interpreter that's going to be on those screens. So hopefully everybody there is going to be able to really engage in the rally. And the committee that I was referencing earlier has done an incredible job rounding up the rally. We've got the governor, a video from the attorney general, the state treasurer, 4 or 5 legislators, and I think 3 or 4 dynamic self-advocates. So the rally is going to be amazing. So that's for in person, and that's going to be 11 to 12. But also there's the virtual option. And this is going to be a YouTube link. So you will not have to be logged into Zoom, this platform, to watch that. And the link is actually being created today. Our tech people that are far smarter than I am are working out some details, but that link is going to be everywhere. We're going to make sure it's in your email. It will be up on this website. It will be on our Facebook page. We will make sure, so that link is how you can watch the rally. And then in the afternoon, so I'll talk about it in 2 chunks, is we've got, we're calling it legislative mixers. So we have scheduled 5 legislative mixers virtually in the afternoon. And so I started to say oh, this is for the online or virtual participants, but these can be for anyone. So if you're planning on coming and want to watch one of these, you can find a spot to post up and watch it on your phone. There's no restriction to that, because I think they're going to be really great sessions. So let me go to register on my screen, or updates here. So if you go to the website, and then at the top, there's some icons, and there's one that says updates, and you click on that. You can scroll down about halfway to the page, and there's a box that says legislative mixers lineup. And if you click read more, there's a link on this page to register for those mixers. You can register for all 5. You can register for 1, whatever you want to do. So here's our lineup. We've got, and this will actually change, Brianna Lennon and Shane Scholler, who are both clerks and in leadership for the State Clerk Association, are going to talk about accessible voting and also help with registrations that day, or show you how to register. We've got Senator Morgan Corder from the Office of the Attorney General is going to talk about their disability issues and how they are working for that community. Senator Lauren Arthur is going to be talking about her bill. It's Senate Bill 748, and there's a link there to that bill, but it's about guardianship. And then Representative Travis Smith is going to hold a session. He's been working a lot on education legislation for individuals with IDD. So he's going to talk about his bills. And then Representative Bridget Walsh-Moore, she's going to be talking about her efforts for competitive integrated employment. And the format of those sessions is they're 30 minutes, they're short, but they're to mimic being there that day to engage. And we want people who are attending virtually to still feel like they're getting a conversation. So I've asked all these people to briefly present and leave time for a lot of questions. And so I encourage you or your groups, if you're going to attend those sessions, to just think about some questions you want to ask. And also don't limit yourself to those sessions. These people are really open And if you don't get a chance to ask your question, you can always send it later. So that's kind of the format of the day. And if you're in person for the afternoon, that's your time to schedule visits. And so we kind of intentionally didn't make it ultra defined or schedule things out for you, because it's a good skill and experience to have to reach out to a legislator that you want to talk to and schedule a time to go to their office. You can usually just pop by unannounced, but you may not catch the legislator in their office. So we really encourage you to call beforehand if you're going to be at the Capitol and you want to say hi or talk about an issue, to reach out to them. A couple little kind of other things that don't fit in one of those categories that are questions we've had are lunch. Where do we eat lunch? So there is a small cafe in the basement at the Capitol on the bottom floor, but it'll probably be pretty busy, and it's kind of a trek. There's elevators that go down, but anyway, you can kind of make a plan to do that, but just know you may have to wait a little bit. And I know they do accept Apple Pay and credit cards and cash. You can go to one of the surrounding restaurants. There's some on the streets surrounding the Capitol. When I've gone in years past, the best bet probably is to bring your own lunch, to bring a sack lunch. We're going to have some tables set up. There won't be enough for everybody probably, but I think, there'll be something, and there's places to sit, or if it's a nice day, you can go sit out on kind of the steps or the balcony right outside the Capitol, which would be really pretty. But this is kind of a good point that I know for myself and others, as we go around the Capitol, most offices are willing to let you hang your coat in there or whatever. And so if you're a group coming from Springfield, Missouri, and you're going to have a cooler that's going to have some lunches in it, I would reach out to your legislator before you come, because I think they would be more than happy to let you set a cooler in their office. Excuse me. I can't speak for everyone, but I know every office I've encountered at the Capitol, that's like the first thing that they tell me is like, oh, if you ever need a place to hang your purse, please do it here. So I know your legislator from your district would probably be more than happy to do that. So that's an option to consider if you are going to bring bagged lunches. Let's see, lunch, afternoon Zoom sessions. Another just update is that we are not going to have packets this year. The feedback was that we would spend all this time printing all these pages and getting all these things printed, and they kind of just ended up not being utilized maybe quite as much. So in lieu of that, we have on this website, drld.org, we have a resources landing page. And right now there's not much there. In the next 24 hours, there's going to be a lot more after this presentation. And we will send an email out to this group once it's been updated. But right now you'll see there is a guide where you can click download PDF, and it's a parking map for the Capitol. So we have that up. We're going to have this recorded session, and some of the things that we share with you during this session will be up there. So it's a good idea just to keep referencing this page if you have, if you need resources. I talked about lunch. I talked about the day, no packets this year. Oh, and finally, just again, questions that we've gotten. It's important to note that masks right now are optional at the Capitol. So you'll see people wearing them. You'll see them not wearing them. Each office kind of has its individual rules. So some offices, like if you're going to go visit your senator, they'll have a sign on the door that says masks required. Some offices don't require them. I have found that if they do require them, they always have a box of masks sitting on their desk. So it's probably a good idea to bring a mask in your bag just to ensure you're able to get in to see whoever it is you want to see. But that's just something that's come up. And as far as what to wear, that was another question we got. You know, I always try to look a little bit more professional when I go to the Capitol and wear a jacket and whatever, but it's going to be a long day and there will be probably a lot of moving around. So I would just make sure you're comfortable, because you're going to be your best self when you're comfortable. So with that, I'm going to stop share. I don't think there was anything else I wanted to talk about. And well, one more thing, of course, if you haven't already, to register, this is just going to give us an idea of who's coming and how we can follow up with you to make sure you get all the updates we're going to send out. You can just, if someone calls you, if a friend calls you the night before and says, oh, can I come? I didn't register. Absolutely, they can come. Same with the afternoon Zoom sessions. We're going to be posting those links. We would love for you to register. That helps us a lot in preparing for it. But again, this is not exclusive. We want everybody to access it. So those will be all available on the website. So I'm going to stop share and I will mute myself, and I'm going to kick it over to Laura.
Laura, you're still muted.
Okay, can everybody see my screen? You can't see it, that's weird.
It looks good, Laura.
Okay. So this is the form that will be up on the website soon. This is all the different bills that we're going to be looking at throughout the rally, and you'll hear speakers talk about them. And these are the ones that we encourage you to speak with your legislator about. But I want to say that if one of these bills on the sheet is not something that's important to you, feel free to talk about anything that's important to you. It doesn't have to be what is on this sheet right here. So any bill that you find is important, any topic that you think is important, anything that's affecting your life, feel free to use that time to speak with that legislator about it. So these bills, as you can see, are kind of chunked together in different topics. The first one we're going to talk about is education, and Leanne mentioned that a little bit earlier. Representative Travis Smith will be a guest speaker for the rally, and then he will talk about HB 2010 and HB 2011. HB 2010 deals with the burden of proof for IEP meetings, and for those that don't know what an IEP is, it's an individualized education plan for students in school who need help to get through the academic day in some way. So usually what happens is the school districts make it the burden on the parent to prove that things aren't being met and that their child's needs aren't being met. This puts the burden of proof on the school district instead of the parent. So a lot of people feel like this is a better move for them. So if this is something that impacts you or your child, feel free to talk about that. Then 2011 talks about IEPs also, and it basically says that the school district has to have written consent from the parent that they agree with the IEP. If there's disagreement between the parent and the school in terms of a portion of the IEP, anything that's agreed upon goes into place, and then the previous IEP is kept in place until new agreements can be reached. Moving on down the line, we have a different representative now with House Bill 2767, and that's Representative Betsy Fogel. She is looking at making it so that starting in the school year 2023 to 2024, so not this upcoming school year, but the next one, it would be that every school has to have a written policy regarding absences for if you have mental health issues or behavioral health issues and you need to be absent from school. And you would have to have a licensed professional give that like feedback and say that you need to be absent, but the school would have to abide by that. So again, the school has to have a written policy implemented by the 2023-2024 school year. Now we're going to move on to employment. The first one is House Bill 1924, and these next two are going to be Representative Walsh-Moore's bills. 1924 deals with the employment first. I know that's been an issue in past DRLD days. So it's the same bill as last year for those that talked about it then. The only thing this does that's different is it incorporates another bill she had last year. So this one talks about the Office of Administration within the state government, making sure that they let people know who is employed by the state that has a disability. And then you add that on to last year's bills regarding making sure that competitive integrated employment is a priority. And that I want to make clear, if you need sheltered employment or supported employment, this does not do anything to change that. It just makes sure that if you want competitive employment, you have that opportunity, and all the different agencies working toward competitive employment for the state of Missouri work together. And the next set we have is Representative Walsh-Moore as well. This one is a little bit employment related and a little bit health related, I say. We put it under the employment tab, but it can also be considered health in that this is a ticket to work program. So it allows people that need Medicaid to be able to work to make more money while still maintaining their Medicaid so they can get things like personal care attendant services. And I'm not going to go into extreme detail about the different details of that. I will provide more information about that later. But
Hey, Laura, will you scroll down a little bit on your screen?
there we go. So like I said, this is 1927 is the ticket to work bill. And again, by Representative Walsh-Moore. And it basically, again, makes it so that if you have a need for personal care attendant or some other need where you would need Medicaid to help fund that, you can still have that service while working and make more money and make sure that you can save for retirement. Then the next set of bills we're going to talk about is voting. So the first one, and I want to say this is not the only bill that talks about this issue. We just picked one, and that's Representative Young's bill, and it's House Bill 2018. And it makes sure that you have to have an accessible voting machine whenever you go to your election location for all elections, so local, state, and federal. And the accessible voting machines are mostly used by those who are blind or have some type of visual impairment, but they don't have to be. And this bill just makes it so they're available for you to use. You don't have to use them if you don't want to. Then the next bill, and this is our only Senate bill on the sheet, deals with absentee voting. And again, it's not the only one, but this one is sponsored by Senator Gannon. And it basically makes it so that anybody can vote absentee no matter the reason. Right now, you have to state a reason as to why you want to vote absentee. This would make it so that anybody could vote absentee at any point in time for any reason. This last section deals with funding. The first bill there is House Bill 3010, and it is sponsored by Representative Cody Smith. And I just want to say something before we start with this. You'll notice that Representative Travis Smith did 2010, 2011. Please make sure that if you're wanting to talk to Representative Cody Smith, that you find the right person because they do have the same last name. And if you're not careful, you will mess that up. So make sure that you're talking to Travis Smith and Cody Smith. And if you're talking to another legislator, that you differentiate between the two so they're clear. But House Bill 3010 deals a lot with the budget bills. Now, I know a lot of people are unfamiliar with the way the state budget works, and there are various budget bills by every single year. So 3010 is the one that deals with the Department of Mental Health and the Department of Health and Senior Services. And not that all the bills aren't important, but the reason why we picked this particular bill is because it deals with the funding for consumer directed services and making sure that people can hire the individuals that they want, and that those individuals can be paid a decent wage, because right now a lot of the wages are too small for the people to make a decent living. And so it's hard for people to keep their employees. And so we want that funding to increase. So hopefully if that's something important to you, you can talk about that. And there will be various people that are on the budget committee speaking at the rally. And you can also find others and just speak with them about that as well. And then last but certainly not least, and she's not going to talk about this at the rally in particular, but we wanted to pick out a piece of legislation that is important to her, and that's Representative Crystal Quaid. She'll be talking at the rally about voting and the importance of voting and everyone voting, but this particular bill deals with behavioral health crisis programs and giving funding to them so they can either start or keep doing what they're doing. And like I said, is not related to what she's going to speak about at the rally, but feel free to talk with her about that. And that is the last bill that we're suggesting that you discuss with your legislator. But like I said, if you have anything else that you feel is important, feel free to talk about that with them. We're not limiting you to just these topics. And now we're going to move on to Shelby. Stop sharing.
Yeah, if you can stop sharing, I'll pull up my PowerPoint. Hello, I'm Shelby Butler. Like I said, I'm with Abilities, one of the 22 independent living centers in Missouri, and I am going to go over ways to engage with your legislators. And we all know this is a very important day. I think this is the 21st year that we are actually having DRLD. And with COVID and travel restrictions, sometimes it's been difficult the last couple of years for groups to be able to attend in person. And so we wanted to create some tips for how to engage with legislators the whole year. And then if you aren't going to the Capitol on DRLD, I put together this PowerPoint that has some of the slides that led up to Leanne and Laura. So it'll be on the website. But I'm going to jump right into 10 easy ways to connect with your legislators for DRLD. So first, you want to find out who your legislator is. And a lot of you on the call may be staff at an organization or a program, and you know how to do this. But if you can help people that you serve do this, it's really important to know ahead of time. But if they don't know, now is the time, especially leading up to March 9th. You'll actually not need your zip code anymore. So this might need to be updated. But I remember looking for people before and you had to enter a zip code. So the Senate page, which is listed here, and it is a clickable link, is where you can go to type in someone's address or your own, and then that will take you to a page that shows your state representative, your state senator, and your U.S. Congress representatives. But like I said, I don't think you have to have your zip code anymore that has the 4-digit code after. So if that's the truth, then that's going to be great, because it'll be a lot easier for people to find. And then once you find them, I think it's very important to remember to tell people that you want to keep that information so that it's easily accessible, and just to make sure that they have that on hand, because a lot of call to actions come through email and through word of mouth. And if you have all of that prepared and are ready, then you can take action a lot quicker. But emailing or calling your legislator's office just to introduce yourself, tell them that you're their constituent. We have a lot of new legislators. I think out of the 163 that were elected over a year ago, many of them are brand new to the Capitol. And so it's really important to introduce who you are, and if you're in their district, to let them know, and just look at this as a first step into building a relationship with them, and then telling them what's important to you, but also including how they can get a hold of you. And sometimes people may not have an email address, but they can also give a phone number. If they allow texting, they can tell the legislator that that's, another way that they can communicate. And then of course you can still give a mailing address if they wanted to do that as well. But you can help people set up email addresses pretty easily these days. So if that's something that the person you're working with needs, then that might be something you can help them with. Like I said, saving the legislators' contact information just so it's easily accessible. And that could be helpful too for the Disability Rights Day. We all know the Capitol is a very complicated place and there are lots of floors with lots of rooms. And so knowing where the legislator's office is and just memorizing that can be really helpful when you're there that day trying to navigate the Capitol. And if you're coming to DRLD, when you contact the legislator, letting them know you're going to be there March 9th, letting them know you're coming. If you're coming with a group, that might be something to talk to your group about ahead of time. So that if you want to make an appointment, you're more efficient and your group can go together. A lot of times when we've taken groups in the past, though, people have wanted to go talk with a specific legislator on their own, and that may be something that your group is fine with. But if you're with a group, making sure you kind of talk about that beforehand. And then if you do make an appointment, like I said, you want to be prepared. You want to know where they're going to meet you. You want to tell them what time you're going to be there and schedule that appointment in a realistic time frame, because we all know the elevators and some of the floors get really crowded, and it may take you some time after the rally to get up to that room where they're at. If you want them to come to you, that's another option. So that might be something, if you use a wheelchair or have to use, you know, something that may take you a little bit longer, you could talk to your legislator about meeting you somewhere around the rotunda. And then if you're having lunch, I know we've had groups before that gathered for lunch and actually invited legislators to come to where we're eating lunch. So that might be an option too. And if you're a group leader, you might think about that. And then once you make the appointment, like I said, map out where their office is. There is a link to the Capitol map where you can kind of see where everything's laid out. Have that information with you so that, like I said, if you have it written down, you actually have it easily accessible. So when you get there, either taking a picture on your phone or having it stored there or on a piece of paper is really helpful, and it'll help you, you know, get to their office a lot quicker. And then if you're not going to the Capitol, you can still meet with your legislators in the district. You know, the week after the rally is spring break. So it really fell at a good time this year. They should all be going back home the week after the rally. And sometimes they'll even be home on Friday, 2 days after. So if you're not going to the Capitol, or even if you are and you want to make a separate appointment with them so you can meet with them in their district, that's a great way to do that. And sometimes they do have local addresses and contact information. So that might be something to also ask them is, you know, when you're in the district, is there a better way for me to get a hold of you? Sometimes when they're not in Jeff City, if you're calling their office and talking to their staff, they're not necessarily there. So that might be a question that you could also ask to find out. And then you can also sign up for those mixers after the rally. So these will be those 20 to 30-minute Zoom sessions. We're going to have one Zoom link. So if you wanted to attend all, you could stay on. These are key people, so they're not necessarily the legislator that represents you, but this is another great way to meet people and to, you know, tell them your important priorities and issues, and then help us as a whole talk about some of those issues and things that we're talking about at the rally. And then, like I said, spring break is March 14th through the 18th. So this is a really great way to contact them and to meet with them while they're back in their districts. And sometimes you can meet them at a coffee shop if you don't feel comfortable having them come to your home. But I personally have seen legislators visit people in their homes. This is another great way if you're utilizing a program like Laura talked about, CDS. You know, you want to show them those home and community-based services that you receive. They can see how that money actually is applied and how it affects you as a person in your home. So just remember that that week after is a great way. Now, they'll also, of course, be out of session the middle of May. And so they'll be home, you know, all summer and in the fall as well. You want to do all of that. You want to contact them. You want to find out where they're at. You want to make sure you know who your legislator is, but you also want to prepare. You want to put your story together. It could be something brief with just, my name is, this is the area I live in, I'm a person with a disability. You can share more about what that is. You can share your daily schedule and activities, especially if you are using those home and community-based services. If you have an aide or an attendant that you even want the legislator to meet, that's a really good way as well to talk about those services and how raising that pay for the attendant or the caregiver or the staff is really going to directly affect you and keep you more independent. If you work, employment is a big thing and people want to work. And like we have all these bills that support that, we need personal stories to also back that up and tell why having a job is so important. Or maybe you have barriers to you haven't been able to find a job, and telling them what those barriers are might help them shed light on the things that they need to work on. And then transportation and healthcare, those are really important issues too. But like Laura said, you can share anything that you feel is something that's a priority in your life. But just preparing that, having those bill references is good, having talking points just helps you have a better conversation. And if you have any experience with talking with legislators, especially at the Capitol, sometimes they have 60 seconds. Sometimes they don't have a full 20, minutes to an hour to give you. So if you're prepared and you know what you're going to say, it just helps you have a better visit with them as well. And then also you can give them that contact information with your story so they know how to follow up with you. And then I've learned, and I know you guys know this too, it's always important to thank them. So if you meet with them, send them a follow-up note when you get back after DRLD, or even if you're listening virtually and then attend those meetings in the afternoon, send those elected officials a thank you and just reminding them that you took time to meet with them and you appreciate them taking their time. And if there's a bill that you're following, especially those on that list, make sure you mention that and ask how you want them to vote. Ask for a yes vote, ask for a no vote, tell them how you want them to support things, because I think a lot of them are depending on us to, in the end, tell them how to vote. I mean, that's how, bills are passed. And so we really need to make sure that we're direct with that message. And then just keep contacting them throughout the session. Like I said, in the middle of May, the session is over, the budget's passed, we'll be done, but the work doesn't have to stop, and it shouldn't stop. And we all know that, especially preparing for next session. We need to contact them throughout the session, but we also need to keep in touch with them June through December. A lot of them will be home. Like I said, that's a much more relaxed time to meet with them. And sometimes they'll be at events, or they'll have things that you can attend where you can have personal time with them. So we have this cheat sheet, 10 ways, that'll be posted. And we have some other resources that'll be listed. I'm always happy to help anyone connect with the legislators. So I included my email address. We have lots of other people on the committee that are in your regions that might be able to reach out. We will have a number at the end of the talking point cheat sheet, or the 10 steps, that has an address, an email address, and a phone number, so that if you need help with anything that's listed, you can contact that name and number and get more help that way. So with that, I will stop there.
Okay, that's a lot of information, but like good information. We wanted to leave plenty of time for you to ask some questions. So I'm gonna open it up, and Sarah will call on people if they have questions. So just use your raise hand feature if you have a question.
Yes, absolutely. The PowerPoint will be shared, so you guys can all use it anyway. You could even add your contact information at the end if you want. I'll provide the editable version.
Mm-hmm. And I will say, just while people maybe are thinking of their questions, the phone number that Shelby was referring to, it's going to be on that resource page on the 10 steps document, and we'll be sharing it. What it is, it's actually one of MoDDC's partners. Oh, thanks, Ann. Glad we were comprehensive. That one of MoDDC's grantees, they're actually like technical support. Excuse me. So if you need help, how do I download Zoom, or how do I turn off mute, or how do I make sure I get this link, or how do I sign up? Those types of things. They're going to be technical support for you for that. Let's see. I think we maybe just nailed it, is what it looks like. We're just covered all our bases. Oh, Candace. Oh,
Lindsay has her hand up. Oh, okay. Lindsay, you can unmute.
Thank you. I just wanted to ask for the bills that Laura went over. Should we schedule the ones that are the most important to us? Should we try to schedule to meet with the legislators who are sponsoring those bills, or our legislators, or both? But if we only have time for one, which would be more important?
Laura, I'm gonna let you answer that.
Yeah, I was unmuting as you were finishing. So I would say it kind of depends where the bill is in the process, and we're going to have a sheet up later that kind of tells you how to figure out where the particular bill is in the process. The reason why I didn't talk about that today is that it could change by next week. It could even change the day of the rally. So just be aware, it depends where it is in the process. So some of them have had hearings already. So what would be most important is probably talking to the committee if it's been assigned to a committee but hasn't had a hearing, talking to that sponsor if it hasn't even been assigned to a committee. It really just depends where that particular bill is in the process. So I would encourage you to just kind of keep track of where the particular bill is or bills are that you're interested in, and kind of figure out from there. If you need help figuring that out, I'm happy to help with that, or any of us on the committee are happy to help as well. So that's kind of the best answer I can give you. I can't really tell you because it depends where the particular bill is. And if it's not a bill that's on this sheet, again, you would just track where it is located and then figure out from there who your best contact would be.
So on that note, Lindsay and Laura, I don't see too many other questions. I'll share my screen and just show you how we've accounted for that so you can track. Really quickly, it won't take long. So if you can see my screen, Shelby, I can only see you. Can you see this bill sheet? Can you thumbs up if you see it, Shelby?
I can see it, Leanne.
Okay, good. You know how you can only see like two people. So like it's hyperlinked. So say HB 2010 is important to you. Did this go to the web page, Sarah? Can you see the House web page?
I would have to move me back around here. Yes.
Okay, so like if that one's important to you, you can come here and find out where it's at. So next, there's not a hearing scheduled right now. It is last action. Yeah, so placed on the informal perfection calendar, and I'm not even, Laura Shelby's gonna be better at that. But basically, if it was referred to a committee, you would see it here. So let's just say it got referred to, and it would be on there just because it's right here. Let's say it got referred to ag policy. I'm pretty sure none of these bills are going to get referred to ag policy, but let's just pretend. So you can access all the committees here, and then here's all those members. So you can contact them. So I'll stop share and allow for more questions, but I just wanted to.
Yeah, let me follow up on what Leanne just said. So that particular bill already had a hearing, so it's on the production calendar because it's going to go, it's on the House floor, going to be discussed by the entire House chamber. So at that point, you could talk to any legislator you want regarding that bill, because they're all going to be voting on it pretty soon or within the next week or so. So that particular bill, you could talk to pretty much any representative. Don't talk to a senator at this point, but any representative in the Capitol.
Can I add to that? This is Shelby. So I think too, when you're emailing representatives, you can actually include that sheet of bills to show them what you're supporting. And then you can send thank yous to the sponsors, because they're going to be the ones that'll support it anyway. But you could send them a thank you and then ask them, how can I help you move this bill forward? And that might give you some ideas, because they might know legislators that they want you to target. So that could be an option too.
Leanne, Linda in chat posted, hi, I am new to this and have never attended. Is it better to go in person or attend Zoom, especially if you don't have a bill you are most interested in?
I mean, we can all kind of input that. I would say really, and this is me being me maybe like patting our own backs, I think the committee did a really good job of making both ways of attending really helpful and informational. So it's really just up to you and how you're comfortable going. As far as not having a very specific bill and a specific idea or thing that you want to make sure to talk about, that's perfectly fine. It's a day of like camaraderie and disability rights, and you meet other advocates and you meet people. So it doesn't always have to be, you know, heavy or focused on an issue. Maybe you just want to like familiarize yourself with the Capitol or whatever. So I know that's kind of open-ended. Laura or Shelby, would you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you don't have a particular issue, it's just a good time to get to know your legislator. Like, go introduce yourself and say, I'm from your district, here's something about me, and get to know them. Because if you get to know them, you might find something that you have in common. Like, they might have gone to the same school you went to, or they might like the same kind of sports team or food or something. And those little things that are in common can help later on down the road. So even if you don't have something right now, it doesn't hurt.
So this is Shelby. I have to plug that our group in Springfield with Empowerabilities isn't able to take a bus. And so we're having a watch party. And that was also posted on those updates. So if you don't want to sign up and watch alone and you want to join some other disability advocates and people with disabilities, feel free to email us and we'll share the link and you can watch with us. We're going to make it kind of fun and inspiring while we're back at home. But also you can go to the Capitol outside of DRLD too. And so I know there's a group I talked to even recently that's going 2 weeks later. So referencing that you weren't able to go and that you're a part of this initiative is always good, but you can go later as well.
Okay, and Rebecca has her hand up, and Rebecca, you should be able to unmute now.
Hi, like Sarah was saying, my name is Rebecca. It's my favorite time being in this call. I'm kind of nervous to meet like comfortable and like uncomfortable wise, but meet registration, and it's kind of hard to cover that, and my question was, how did you run your program? I really so it's so inspiring.
Rebecca, that's really nice. So I think to repeat, to make sure I understood your question, is how we formed the program?
Run the program.
Yeah, I think we can
inspire. I kind of like inspiring. I inspired through that program.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, just kind of how we ran the program and came up with it, and you found it inspiring.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we'll all kind of jump in there. It was the way we've done it is there's been, I'm going to shoot from the hip, maybe like 6 or 7 organizations across the state with representatives, and we've had self-advocates on the committee. But that's maybe something everyone here to keep in mind as we start planning next year. We'd love to have more voices in that. But anyway, we've just been working on it and plan the day to try to provide the best way possible for advocates and self-advocates to have their voice heard. So I'm glad to hear that it's something that's inspiring. And I think as far as maybe being a little bit nervous, I would say probably everybody in here is a little bit nervous when we go to the Capitol. So you're in good company when that happens. Shelby or Laura, do you have anything to add for Rebecca?
I'll just say, this is Shelby. I'm really excited that we've worked so hard to offer more preparation, because I think for those people that haven't ever been, it's, probably going to help you feel more comfortable. And then just knowing that we've done this for 21 years, it's something that just keeps getting better and better. So, and thank you, Leanne, and to the council for putting a lot of effort and funding in this year to make it so great.
Yeah. And Rebecca, one more thing I just thought of, and I don't know if you're planning on attending in person, but I have commissioned Sarah. She's making us the most obnoxious loud color she can find of a name tag that just says volunteer. I said hot pink, but we'll see what happens. A hot color, so we're really identifiable, and hopefully that everybody on the committee or people that have helped plan the day will be wearing those stickers. So at any time during the day, if you're like, hey, what do I do next? Or where do I go? Or who do I talk to? You can find someone if you're not going with a group that we can help as well.
Rebecca, this is Sarah. I might have misunderstood you earlier. Did you say you were having trouble registering? I'm gonna find you back so you can unmute. Okay, you can unmute yourself, Rebecca.
Right. Right. I registration. I need to talk to Lindsay starting about it. I need to talk to Lindsay about me getting registered and trying to talk to my mom about it.
Great. And it looks like Lindsay did put in the chat, Rebecca, that she'll help you with registration.
All right.
And I was gonna add on to also, I'll be doing the virtual version. So if anybody has issues when you're doing virtual, just know I'll be on there. So like one of us will be on there watching virtually with you. So if you really have issues, we will figure out, know that you're not alone, and we'll figure out what's going on. So I'll be in contact with the people that are working at the Capitol. So we'll get it all squared away.
Awesome. So I don't want to cut anyone off, but I don't know that are there any more last questions, either in the chat or that people want to ask while we're still on?
Toy, is that a thumbs up or did you have a question? Thumbs up? Okay. Thank you. And Candace has her hand raised. Candace, you can unmute.
Hi, this is Candace. Hi, Leanne. Well, did we for letters to write to the person after you? I just thought about this. Are we gonna have templates to say that? I just thought about it. I'm sorry, I don't mean to put the work on us, but I just thought about it.
I think that's actually a great idea. I think that would be an easy resource to post. So I'm just going to say, yes, we will put a template up on the resource page that you can follow up with. Be very simple, but to write a thank you note to people. That's a great idea.
And I can help with that.
Thank you. You will be helping with it.
Yeah, I know. Yep. Okay.
I love you. Thanks. No, it shouldn't be bad. Well, I'm seeing everyone looks very calm, cool, and collected and prepared. Thank you for all the nice comments. And we're so happy, like Shelby said, it's an exciting thing to be a part of and bring and just keep enhancing each year. And so we look forward to seeing you however we're going to see you that day, whether it's virtual or in person, and know that you can flip-flop at the last minute. We're just trying to get ideas of numbers and make sure we had the accommodations we need. But if your plans change, we're offering the 2 platforms for a reason. So make sure you're able to engage. With that, we'll get out of here a whole 5 minutes early and let everyone get on with their day. So thank you for being with us.